what is the lore of League of Legends? That's generally what I'm going to be exploring and what is going on. And I'm not really going to do a whole introduction or outlook video of the actual lore. I've looked into it. I found it very fascinating, and I really just like the general idea of what their lore actually is. However, one of the biggest things that I struggle with is, well, I guess I have two things that I generally struggle with, is lore is constantly changing with new additions. So when they add new champions or whatever, they just exactly what they did with Arcane and Victor. They just said, hey, this is what we're doing, learn to love it or get out. And I just thought, that doesn't seem too good, right? Because it just doesn't feel good as someone who's been following this for maybe more than 5 years now, that everything you know can just be changed with the next newest project, and then everything you thought you knew could be very drastically have changed. And so the second thing I don't like is they're constantly adding new champions, and it feels like the world is static and they're just filling in the gaps or just trying to add them to the current story. And it just doesn't feel good to me. And so what I'm looking for is a solid point of just general lore that everyone can follow, read, and know that that is 100% true. So, for example, a book series or a comic book series, something that is just going to be 100% canon, that a single writer, project lead, very similar to MCU, that is heading, and it's just the vision is constant. You can believe in it. It's decisive with set points that everyone can believe in, right? Sort of the Yasuo and Riven storyline, where Yasuo will always be this criminal of Ionia seeking redemption, essentially. Like, that is constant no matter what happens. And maybe there's a storyline of that trying to change, and that'd be really cool. But if you're going to change the lore like they did with Victor, I would just love to see that become a big change, right? Sort of like Flashpoint in DC or Secret Wars in Marvel, right? You drop this huge story, it changes the things you want to change in a neat package, and then everyone's on the same page. Like, oh, this is a huge event, and now everyone's changed in this way. And they sort of had that opportunity in Arcane. That's not what they did at all, because they were just actively changing it to what was more convenient for them and what they liked more at this point in time. So the second thing I was looking for is just put the new champions on a new storyline. Just kick them out. Just have a new version of the storyline, right? I didn't like the Runeterra, how they treated Runeterra. I felt like that was really messy. Just generally speaking, right? Like all the events, when I was following it, everything I look back on, it just felt like it was such a cool idea that they've hinted at, thought about, and now they're just chasing after it in one big fell swoop. Even the champion gradual release, where they released Gwen, it just confused me. And I know a lot of people I was around at the time, it confused them as well, where why is, like, who is this person? Like, it's a doll. And yes, it's tied to Viego's wife or princess, whatever you want to refer to her as. Like, yeah, okay, that's understandable for sure. However, just generally speaking, I wish that story was done a lot better and more decisively, because there's so many little bits of it that was spread across all of their franchises of Legends of Runeterra, maybe Teamfight Tactics, depending on how you look at it. League of Legends is holding it now. They have a book, a separate game. And if the book is 100% canon, that's what they want to follow, that I think they should expand that into more storylines, just so people can follow it more conclusively. Because how I see it right now, you play the game and you're just slowly reading the lore, and you're just figuring out little tidbits and picking on like little visual cues. However, it would be cool to have a Harry Potter Wheel of Time, Lord of the Rings style story where you can read that book and just absorb what the lore is right now. And with God knows how many champions, way over 100 plus now, it'd just be more fascinating to read it or view it or interpret it. I don't know, like comic book, whatever. It'd just be way more interesting to just have a set timeline or storyline that you can observe it, even if it's not conclusive in terms of time, but here's all these stories and it's up to the readers to piece it together, how the timeline flows and where each time part of that story fits into the whole world. Kind of like a Five Nights at Freddy's thing where, you're releasing stuff and the community is just going crazy trying to figure out where everything is going. So that's what I'm asking. That's my big problem. One thing that I kind of wanted to do that I've been interested in is making videos, not discussing the lore, not trying to piece it together, but maybe rewriting it. So it's just giving ideas of what it could be and how fun it could be, and maybe setting forth just solid storylines. So if you made it this far in this 6-minute video, let me know what you think. Is a kind of video novel rewriting all of League of Legends lore in a concrete and solid way. So how I see it happening is, we'll keep the same map, we'll keep all the champions, and more importantly, everything will stay true to form. So, for example, like this is 100% the map where people come from, and generally their backgrounds will stay consistently. However, writing it in a time. So, like Mbessa came, right? So she would be the newest champion, and if I started today, like that would be the cutoff. And we would be trying to write a story fitting in all the characters in a time slot that makes sense for them and just rolling it through. And then as they add new champions, like for example, if I did this a while ago, all 5 of these champions would be completely new additions. They'll be in a completely new story and time slot with all new main story lines, like maybe the Darken Invasion or Dragon Invasion, like whatever like that. But yeah, just chasing after just concrete stories that are fun and exciting for the reader, and just starting out with videos so that people can hear the ideas, hear the stories, and maybe we go in a more concrete format. It's a style of fan fiction, I will admit to that, but generally, I just want, it seems like a fun project, and it doesn't seem like people are chasing after to view or watch League of Legends lore. It's not, when they do something like Arcane, everyone flocks to it. But I haven't seen too many people actually flock to the book because, I think the Runeterra event was such a cool event that they did so much with, but not a lot of people wanted to just read that. It seemed like it was a peak 6 book, that it was building up for 5 books before that, and now you get to see everything come forward. That's more exciting than just the book alone, and that's where I'm trying to get at, is just rewrite it from beginning to finish with all these champions and have it so that when you read, watch, whatever it ends up being, you get the idea of what the champion is, even though it's not canon lore, right? It's fan-made, but I think this could be successful, or it seems like a good idea, because I look at something like Dragon Ball, and people have gone far writing essentially fan fiction or just their own version of the stories with that. And that's just all I'm trying to do. There's so much potential here, but I just don't like what they're putting out, and I don't like the actual product that they're putting out for storytelling for these people. So let me know what you think, and we'll see what happens after that. Cool. I'll talk to all y'all later.